estado con tu camiseta alentando en la gradería. El Independencia ha rugido con tu grito de combate. Tus bengalas han iluminado los campos de juego. Has estado en cada batalla, en cada victoria, en cada derrota. Esta vez, por las circunstancias en las que enfrenta el mundo, por esa batalla que vamos a ganar, las graderías están vacías, pero nunca nos sentimos solos, porque tu camiseta, tu grito, tus bengalas nos iluminaron el corazón hasta el último minuto. Y como en cada final, dejamos todo en la cancha por vos. Este título tiene tu nombre. Gracias, fanaticada. Yo soy del tren.
You know, I keep seeing all those ads, and it makes me want to have those people in the stands going crazy, calling the game. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, we're missing that atmosphere. Even if we're doing it remotely, it would still be cool to hear the fans there. One day.
Viví la nueva experiencia digital del campeón nacional de Nicaragua. Ingresa a realestelifc.com y disfruta de la nueva app online del Tren del Norte.
So they also have a hoops team. I wonder if they're going to let us do some hoops games sometime. That'd be cool.
Las áreas en un solo lugar. Recibí notificaciones directamente en tu dispositivo. Suscríbete ahora y sé parte de la familia rojiblanca.
The Train of the North invites you to subscribe to its new YouTube channel, where you can enjoy live matches, scores, interviews, and exclusive content from the greatest soccer club and reigning Nicaraguan champion. The time to be engaged with the international train has arrived. Follow the train from the north.
Yeah, I thought my mic was muted. It was muted. I loved it.
Llegó el momento de dar el gran paso.
De pasar el legado a una nueva generación.
Es el momento de trascender.
Y ser más que un gran equipo.
Es el momento de honrar grandes proezas.
Y recordar grandes momentos.
Porque la historia no solo se recuerda.
La historia se escribe.
Estamos de regreso, estimados fanáticos del fútbol. Un placer seguirles llevando.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Estadio Independencia. It's an empty estadio, though, tonight, and the hosts struggling. Real Esteli trailing 1-0 at the half to the upstarts, Municipal Jalapa, as we welcome you back for the second half. Gabriel Coelho opening the scoring, the 27-year-old Brazilian with a 35th minute goal. Beautiful strike off a corner from Luis Galeano, the captain, and that's how Jalapa has its lead. Ben Wilson back alongside James Poovey, and something that Esteli not accustomed to, struggling, especially at home. And just in general, Esteli unbeaten in their last 12 matches, coming off a championship in both the Apertura and Clausura seasons. They won both parts of the 2019-20 campaign, off to a perfect start, league leaders. But what has gone wrong tonight? They cannot seem to find a rhythm as they trail 1-0 to Jalapa. Certainly a scoreline, James, that will send some shockwaves around Liga Primera.
For sure, Ben. Last week, Esteli fell early got behind early to Juventus Managua 1-0 in about the 5th or 6th minute last week, and now in the 35th minute tonight they fell 1-0, and they're behind here at the half. So you mentioned they're not accustomed to playing from behind, but that's what they're going to have to do once again here tonight against a young Jalapa team who has come to play.
We'll see what sort of adjustments are made at the half, as Esteli, who came in, couldn't have played much better. 13 goals, just 3 allowed, a +10 differential, and a perfect start to the season, putting them on top of the table, while Jalapa coming in 2-1-1 with 7 points from their 4 matches, good for 4th in the league. But coming off a huge upset at home, 2-0 win over Dirian Hen last Sunday. I don't think many thought they could duplicate that again tonight. So far, though, they have, and we will see one of those adjustments. It's Luis Acuna, who came off the bench last weekend in the 72nd minute. He's been used primarily as a sub by Holver Flores, and he'll do the same thing tonight, coming in for Harold Medina. The 18-year-old is off. The 31-year-old Argentine is on, Luis Acuna, and we are underway in the second half from a fanless Estadio Independencia. Normally, James, would have about 8,000 screaming fans, but as has been the case since the spring when the pandemic first began, that's not the case, and that's something that, for the most part, hasn't been a huge factor for Esteli since they've been so good at home, but certainly something that when you're struggling as the home team, you try and use that to your advantage, and they will not have that, obviously, tonight or the rest of this Apertura.
Well, yeah, we were talking a little bit off-air, Ben, or maybe actually not off-air there for a moment, about the crowd not being there. A lot of times these teams feed off the crowd and the energy that crowd provides, and with 8,000 people can provide quite a bit of energy inside a soccer stadium. So it's definitely a different dynamic for the team as they're playing in front of a empty stadium. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the broadcast at home tonight, wherever you're watching from. We hope you're enjoying it, and we're certainly enjoying bringing it to you. And Jalapa has come out here tonight to play. They are maybe that defeat of Dirian Hen last week, the Cacique 2-0, provided them a little bit more confidence than we realized.
Looking to cross this ball in. It's headed back across the face of goal and kept out. A nice defensive header from Jalapa to prevent the equalizer coming for Esteli as Henry Maradiaga just drifted a little bit following that cross, was out of his goal. And it appeared as though, I believe that was Marcos Garcia on the back line, able to get the header away. But right away, James, after Jalapa controlled most of the possession in the first half, it is Esteli with a big push forward.
Well, we mentioned the virtual tongue lashing that Esteli probably got in the locker room at halftime from Coach Holver Flores, and they've come out on fire here. An excellent job there from Jalapa, heading that one away at the last moment.
Hey, you think about, though, that impact of the home fans. You'd have to say, you look at Jalapa, most big upsets usually only happen when you got the fans for the home team, causing some disruption for the visitors. But Jalapa playing in front of no fans last weekend, and they pulled the upset against Dirian Hen. So it works both ways. It's, if anything, just an excuse. These players are used to it at this point. So just something, though, that you have to think about. And we certainly do miss the fans. I know the players do, but they just feel fortunate to still be playing at this rate. And for Esteli, it's really their first true test of this season. I know, as you mentioned, James, they were down early last weekend at Juventus, but they equalized at about the half-hour mark and then really controlled the rest of that match. This is the first time they have trailed past halftime all season.
Yeah, it's an interesting position right now for Esteli. We'll have to see how they respond here in the second half against this young Jalapa team, which you have to think is going to have a little bit more energy than a little bit more seasoned, if you will, Esteli team.
Looking to find Brandon Ayertis, but a poor first touch. Still looking to find his rhythm, the 20-year-old from Jinotepe in Nicaragua. And a chance for Jalapa to push forward on the counter. There is Coelho, the dynamic Brazilian, who caused all sorts of problems in the first half, teaming up with Luis Galeano.
And it's Coelho, the only goal of the evening so far.
Yeah, and it's the second straight year Coelho has scored against Esteli. Marlon Medina on the ball. He's playing in more of a midfield position tonight, traditionally a defender. But Medina, the lone player on the roster from Esteli, he has to be loving this, doesn't he, James? The 35-year-old who has pretty much seen it all. He played in the red and white shirt for 6 seasons, won 6 straight Liga Primera titles. As this ball sent forward, no foul called, and now they will bring it back very belatedly. Ayertis thought he had been played through with Barrera right next to him, and I can't tell if they're calling a foul or an offside on that ball played through. Let's hope to see another look.
A lot of confusion on the pitch right now, Ben. That was definitely a late whistle, in my opinion. We'll see what they come up with.
Yeah, they are going to say offside. I think Eddie Nicoya, you saw the Jalapa players furious with our official right away, Adonald Velez. I don't think they realized they had raised the offside flag. But I am almost positive that that is the call. Again, we are broadcasting remotely, so we do our best to interpret. But usually that raised hand does mean the offside flag is up. So still a 1-0 lead for the visitors, Jalapa, as we play early in the second half. Mentioned, though, Marlon Medina and the 6 straight titles he won with Esteli. Medina now applying his trade for Jalapa, oldest player in the team. But it just puts into context, James. You think about Jalapa as a club. They are 50 years younger than Esteli, who were formed back in 1961. And when Jalapa was formed, Esteli were in the middle of a stretch where they won 8 straight titles from 2006 to 2014. Little scurry in the box and a foul called on Jalapa as a couple bodies go down. A lot of jostling for position. It was Coelho who went up strong and collided with Christian Gutierrez. They both go down. Foul called on Coelho, and it's a free kick for Esteli and Rodrigo Romo.
Well, the physicality level in this game, it just keeps going up, Ben. They are really getting after tonight, and Jalapa is just having their way right now with Esteli, and Esteli just so far not able to find a way to respond.
You saw the number 12 there a moment ago, flashing across your screen in red of Esteli, Luis Acuna. He was the halftime sub replacing Harold Medina. So what kind of impact can he have? You'd think we'd probably see Henry Garcia. He's a available sub, James, off the bench tonight. Had started each of the first 4 games for Esteli, but available for Holver Flores if needed later on.
Yeah, Holver Flores has a number of weapons in his back pocket if he needs them. Real Esteli, we talked about it on the broadcast last week. They're very deep. Even their U20 team has a lot of players that are able to come up and fill in the gaps when necessary on this upper echelon club. So they're very deep, our Real Esteli.
And the Esteli U20s, they did win earlier today against Jalapa's U team, 5-0. Another goal for Edgar Castillo. It's still kind of amazing to me, James, that he's stuck on the youth team. He's now scored 7 goals in 5 matches at the U20 level. But I'm not the one calling the shots. I just know he was amazing last year, called up in the Clausura and scored 4 goals for the big club for Esteli. So who knows? Maybe his time is coming. Widman Talavera also scored. He's another player who got some time for the senior club last season. But yeah, that Esteli U20 team, a tough matchup for anybody when you consider how much great talent they have. And here we see the first sub of the evening for Jalapa. It is Ronaldo Pabon, one of 24 Colombians currently playing in Liga Primera. He replaces the youngster Luis Borges. And the first sub of the night comes in the midfield for Carlos Javier Martino.
Yeah, plenty of time for some of those younger players on the U20 team for Esteli to get promoted to the big leagues here, if you will. And we got 4 more games after this one before the playoffs. Hard to believe.
Pabon, he scored the game winner in the season opener against Juventus, 1-0. And yeah, I should point out, James, they only set the first 9 matches for the Apertura. They still will have the next 9. They will play the full 18 before the tournament.
Okay.
But they have yet to set that schedule. Partly because there is the League Cup which goes on, and there's also the CONCACAF League which will be starting later this fall. Esteli will be a part of that. So they have to figure out all the particulars as far as logistics, and then you consider the CONCACAF portion of World Cup qualifying starts in October. Kind of crazy to think that we're already starting our FIFA World Cup qualifying for 2022, but they actually just announced the groups this week. Nicaragua paired with Haiti, Belize, St. Lucia, and Turks and Caicos. And it will be St. Lucia who face Nicaragua. That's the first match for the men's national team, of which a bunch of Esteli players are members of, a couple for Jalapa as well. But that's on October the 7th, as the men's national team will vie for their first ever World Cup appearance. But they've completely shaken up the qualifying process, partly as a result of the pandemic. There's no more hex, the 6-team final qualification table. It's actually now 8 teams, and there's only 3 rounds of qualifying instead of the 5 that there were in the past. So right. Nicaragua will be part of that men's national team. They did make it to the 3rd round in 2018, had a heartbreaking loss to Jamaica, 4-3 on aggregate. So they've done well in the past, and in all things considered, a pretty good group for them. They'll be the second favorite behind Haiti, but they have beaten Haiti in big competitions in the past, so they'll have to like their draw. Here's a ball played through. Ayerdes can't quite get to the end of it. Barrera with the ball in the box, keeping it alive. Barrera, left foot, it goes in. Took a deflection, but the strength of Barrera is too much. And Esteli have their equalizer in the 57th minute off the leading goal scorer in the league's foot, Juan Barrera.
Juan Barrera, the 31-year-old from Ocotal, Nicaragua, an excellent job there, using patience, waiting for just the right moment to strike, and he does it right on time, right in front of the net, and puts it in off the deflection, off of a Jalapa player. Another look at it here. Ayerdes tries to take it in. He's stoned right there by Mara Diaga. And now switching to the left foot is Barrera. Here's the goal cam view. Barrera coming in from the left side. Drives it in a bit. Left foot off of the Jalapa player in front of the net and into the goal. What a play.
And Marcos Garcia coming over. You think about that, it looks bad when you slow it down for Garcia, but so much power on that shot. Garcia had to have off the line. But Juan Barrera, he is...
It almost...
Yeah, he is one of the best goal scorers in Liga Primera history, and it can be pretty, it can be ugly, but as goal scorers will tell you, James, all that matters is that you get the ball across the line, and that's exactly what Barrera is able to do, and we're all knotted up now, a goal apiece.
A strong left boot there from Juan Barrera. If you caught the last bit of that replay, Ben, it almost looked like it went off the hand. It was deflected initially by Mara Diaga, and then it went off the Jalapa player back into the goal. Wow.
So
I'd like to see that one more time.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. As we come up on an hour into the match, but now all of a sudden it's a completely new match as Gabriel Coelho had started the scoring in the first half. Juan Barrera's league-leading 8th goal in his 5th match this season. He is now halfway to his career high in an entire 36-match campaign. So that just gives you an idea of the torrid start he is off to. Barrera, 16 goals back in the 2013-14 season for Esteli. That was before he ventured out, played in Austria, Guatemala, Venezuela, and Colombia before coming back to Esteli. And his goal has leveled us up. Still a lot of time left as well. But a free kick coming for Jalapa right now. Galeano, who is that free kick corner set piece specialist for Jalapa to take. And with our feed just slightly delayed, we can see in super slow-mo, James. I wasn't going to broadcast in that same speed because it would just be torturous for everybody. But it is collected by Romo. Of course, we thank everybody from Esteli and from the transmission site. They do a great job trying to overcome all the technological hurdles that inevitably happen.
Yes.
When you're trying to broadcast remotely from multiple countries and different states and all that. But this should be sorted out shortly. Again, Esteli and Jalapa tied at 1, 60th minute, as Brandon Ayerdes charges forward and forces a deflection and a save made from the keeper, Henry Maradiaga. So now we'll get the ultra fast forward zoom here. Again,
now we're going to catch up to live.
We won't try to match this. It's it is pretty rapid.
Here we go.
But we are back. Thanks again for sticking with us. A lot of hard work though going on, I know, behind the scenes to keep everything smooth, and it does take a large team, and we thank everybody involved. We thank you as well for joining us tonight, and for those of you who are enjoying this match, you have picked a good one, because Esteli, they've been in a lot of matches that were all but over at this point in that hour mark, where you can look to last week when they were up handily past the hour mark, but here getting all they can handle from Jalapa, youngest team in Liga Primera as far as the club's history. Nearly relegated last season. They finished 9th and tied for last with Las Sabanas, but finished in the relegation playoff spot. They were not relegated only because they had a better goal differential. So that shows you how close they were to going down. Then had to beat Deportivo Messiah over 2 legs. And they trailed after the first leg. So it was not at all a straightforward journey for Jalapa staying in the league from last season.
Maybe they appreciate it a little bit more this year, Ben, and they're coming out playing a little bit harder. And I tell you, they're giving Esteli all they can handle tonight.
And I mentioned in the first half, only lost 1 starter from last year. So it is, most. It's interesting, though, that Jalapa, for the 2nd straight year, they have a new keeper who they acquired from Esteli. It was Kenneth Bautista a season ago who had transferred from Esteli. And now Henry Maradiaga. He catches this ball sent in.
There.
Pretty good delivery. Had to be strong with the hands. And outlets it to the substitute off the bench, Ronaldo Pabon.
You were right on time with the Maradiaga mention on that one there, too. That was perfect.
Now, we get lucky sometimes,
Right?
There are no secrets. That's just how it happens.
That's it.
Luis Acuna presses forward, looking now for the go-ahead goal. It's always that third goal that feels so crucial, especially in matches like these. You feel the momentum shift to the home team in Esteli, pushing forward in the red and white jerseys. And can Maradiaga stand tall in goal? Colindres with the takeaway, and then a foul on Esteli. They'll bring it all the way back.
Time will start slowly becoming a factor as well here as we're crossing into the 64th minute.
And each team with 2 subs still available as the players take an extra second to stretch out. And our premonition is correct. James Henry Garcia, the second sub off the bench for Holver Flores, as he replaces Jorge Betancourt in midfield. So a lot of pace being added as the 28-year-old comes on. It's his first appearance off the bench. Did score against Jalapa last season, and he'll try to duplicate that in a 1-1 match, just over 25 minutes plus stoppage time remaining.
Yeah, Henry Garcia, not the tallest player, but he has a great ability to drive the ball and great improved physical strength during the offseason as well. So Garcia is a force to be reckoned with for sure for Esteli.
Scored 4 goals last season, 2 of which came for Managua, who we spent the Apertura with on loan. High looping ball that is well behind the goal of Rodrigo Romo, and we'll see if there was a deflection there. I think there was. That was, again, Brian Zuniga causing all sorts of problems down that right side, and he has given Manuel Rosas, who has seen it all essentially in his 11th season as the captain of Esteli, but giving him all he can handle. And it sets up Galeano, who has that brilliant right boot, set up the goal earlier from a corner spot. And now just outside at the edge of the box.
We'll see what Galeano can do with it here.
65th minute, Jalapa 1, Esteli 1. It's the visitors with this free kick. Coelho moving around in the box. Good ball in. It just couldn't find the final touch. Now, Galeano did exactly what you ask for as a coach. But Colindres, the defender, and Coelho just could not quite reach it.
Coelho with a nice attempt there. That would have been his second goal of the game, but just unable to connect.
And must have got the slightest of Esteli touches coming through because it's a throw-in for Jalapa, but immediately picked off by Christian Gutierrez. I give Jalapa credit. So many times you see that underdog, James, go up early and hang on, but once they concede, things can fall apart in a hurry. They have done their best to stabilize, but we'll have to do a lot more defending over the final 24-plus minutes. As it's Aiertes into the box, working his way inside, tried to square up a shot for Garcia just on, but wasn't totally centered and sends it wide.
You mentioned that critical third goal, Ben. Usually most teams that break that 1-1 tie, usually they take it the rest of the way. We'll take another look at it here. A little bit of footwork there for Aiertes, accelerating past Nicoya. Great move, athletic move there.
We mentioned in the first half how Eddie Nicoya, the transfer from Real Esteli, where he featured on the youth team, did not play for the senior squad at all. He has been craving that first team action. The reason why he went to Jalapa, but he realized right away there are some tall tasks as far as defending goes, and Brandon Aiertes is one of them, despite being just 20. Basically the same age as Nicoya, the Diriamba native.
You really feel the sense of urgency increasing now for both these teams.
Michael
Who's going to get that third one?
Yeah, and here's another look. Going mano y mano.
Got him to overcommit. Nice job there by Aiertes.
Apertura did score, as I mentioned earlier, in the first half on opening night for Esteli, but has not found the score sheet since. After 11 last season, Esteli has scored the most goals of anybody in Liga Primera, and Barrera nearly gets another, scuffs a free header as he created a good amount of space between he and Adolfo Colindres, one that he'll want back.
Full extension there for Barrera. We'll take another look at it here. Oh, goodness. Nice effort.
You can't ask for more space, and a good ball delivered as well. Luis Acuna trying to duplicate that effort. Barrera, though, with the aggressive style, keeps it alive. Good defending, though, to stick with it. And it deflects to Maradiaga. Barrera playing on a yellow card, but still fearless. With all that wisdom from his many years playing for the national team of Nicaragua, a number of other countries as well outside Nicaragua and Liga Primera on the club front, but enjoying so far what's been the best goal-scoring season of his club career as a 31-year-old, and here he sends it out wide.
No substitute for playing experience.
Quijano and Acuna with a two-man game as we play in the 70th minute.
About broke the ankles there of Galliano.
Looking for a ball to fall kindly for Apertura, but with that slight hesitation, ball pops up and Jalapa boots it out for a throw. "20 minutes to go from Estadio Independencia. 1-1 between the league leaders Real Esteli and the upstarts, surprising everybody with their fourth place position through 4 match days in Jalapa."
Another Jalapa player on the pitch now.
With that Garcia sub we saw a few minutes ago for Esteli, they have one left. Jalapa has 2 subs. Marlon Lopez, the 27-year-old who commits the foul in the middle of the park. Should point out the other match going on, Managua and Juventus. A 0-0 match right now in the 72nd minute. The Blue Lions of Managua coming in third in the league table behind Walter Ferretti and Esteli. And we'll get a yellow for time wasting.
Oh, boy. Coach won't be happy about that one.
Yeah, Michael Montiel saying, wait, I thought only the goalies could get cards for time wasting. Apparently not.
Learn something new every day, right?
Yeah, Daniel Velez having none of it. As this hopeful ball takes a hop and comes to Rodrigo Romo. Hasn't had a whole lot of work to do in his debut with the team. The Spaniard has made one nice save. Wasn't much he could do on the goal that was conceded. But now it's Luis Acuna. Sends a right-footed ball, but right at Maradiaga. Apertura, the closest Esteli man to it.
Maradiaga gets that one out of there in a hurry.
Yeah, pace.
Credit as well to Velez tonight, our official. He's really kept control of this game because it's been pretty physical all throughout the game.
Yeah, you all right? Just a couple cards handed out. Barrera, Lopez picked up cards in the first half. We just saw Montiel pick up a card over Flores. Did get a card from the touchline in the first half. But the pace picking up over these last couple minutes. Esteli with a draw would stay top of the table on goal difference after Walter Ferretti won earlier today. A 1-0 win at Dirian Hen. Second straight loss for the Cacique. Held without a goal once again. So Ferretti 4 wins and a draw. Esteli with the 4 wins in 4 matches so far and a positive 10 goal differential. Of course, as we mentioned, it is a big matchup, though, that's set up for next weekend. Esteli at Walter Ferretti. And it looks like, regardless of outcome, it will be the top 2 teams matching up. Just depends on who is first and who is second going into the national stadium in Managua next weekend.
Boy, that's going to be a great one next Saturday night, Ben. I can't wait for that one.
While Jalapa will have to take on the Blue Lions of Managua, but they do get them at home in Jalapa. Ball set out to Marlon Lopez. Esteli, the hosts, leveled things up in the 57th minute, but there Ayeres not close. As Maradiaga will just watch that sail into the 10th row and careen its way back down.
You mentioned the experience of a player like Juan Barrera, Henry Maradiaga, with about the equal amount of experience and goal for Jalapa tonight.
Played 111 matches in goal for Esteli over 4 seasons. But you think back, James, to how it ended for Maradiaga, and really too bad when you just think about the circumstances around it. He was sent off after a match in El Clásico Nacional against Dirian Hen had completed for arguing with the officials, was given a 4-match ban, served his suspension, but then was not chosen as the number 1 keeper coming back. It was Denver Fox. With the team playing well, hard to blame the coaches for making that decision, but they stuck with Fox. Maradiaga was left out of the team as Esteli won the 2019-20 championship in both Apertura and Clausura tournaments, and then Maradiaga decided to head to his hometown club, Jalapa, after the season ended.
Well, that's why the injuries can be so devastating for a player, not only the actual injury and the rehab and getting back on the playing surface, but also the fact that your job can be in jeopardy as well if you're out for a certain amount of time and someone comes in and maybe not outperforms you, but performs maybe equally or maybe even a little better than you did. And it's hard for those coaches to turn their back on that player that's got the hot hand.
Foul coming here on Jalapa as Luis Acuna hit the deck. And even though that final stretch was a suspension for Maradiaga, no injury, he was hurt earlier in the Clausura, and that's when the coaches got their first real extended look at Denver Fox and liked what they saw. Again, he is not in goal tonight, Fox. They brought in Rodrigo Romo as the second keeper. Didn't get to camp until just a couple days before the start of the season. And with getting him all up to speed, had to be mindful of all the international COVID protocols. And Romo finally was activated, was on the bench last weekend, and starts tonight. We've reached our second half cooling break. Here's a look at the goals if you missed them. Gabriel Coelho off a corner from Luis Galeano in the 35th minute to start. And that gave Jalapa the first half lead.
Great job there.
His 6th career goal for Jalapa. And then Juan Barrera, leading goal scorer in Liga Primera.
With the deflection, look at it from the goal cam. Barrera comes in, switches to the left foot, the strike off the Jalapa player and into the net.
Yeah, I know, James, when we first saw that, you mentioned you thought there might have been a slight touch from Maradiaga. Again, I think it's just a case of Barrera's pace on that ball just being so much that unless you got a really strong palm to it, that ball was not going to be denied, despite the deflection into the netting.
It was a bad matchup after that one.
And he had a chance, too, to gather himself, had all sorts of space after the initial run from Ayeres to set up and fire home. And it's his 5th career goal against Jalapa for Juan Barrera. I know he felt bad to not be with the team at the end of last season, injured for the final 6 matches, but has played every minute of this Apertura 2020 season.
And played well, too.
Yeah, I think the goals, they certainly back that up. 8 in 5 matches. Has scored 18 on the international level for the Nicaraguan men's national team. I know he was probably thrilled to see that draw with Haiti in the FIFA first-round CONCACAF qualifier, as he had that probably the most famous match in Nicaragua men's national team history. They qualified for the Gold Cup back in 2017, and Barrera scored 3 times in 6 minutes, all after the 80th minute to upset Haiti. Will be the top seed in that group. Nicaragua will be the 2 seed. So that'll be fun to track once we get later into the fall. Again, that starts October 7th. World Cup qualifying for 2022. In the meantime, 1-1 match coming on our final 10 minutes with this shot blocked. Jalapa, who saw Coelho put them on top in the first half, looking to, at the very least, earn what will be a very impressive point on the road and keep the dream start to their season going. 4th in the table coming into tonight.
And this has got to give them some confidence. As you mentioned, regardless of what happens, if they're able to hold it right now and at least get a point out of it, even if they don't get the full victory, that's still got to be a confidence booster to go up against one of the best teams in Liga Primera and stand tall.
After 2 straight nights, Dirian Hen, the victims last week of a 2-0 Jalapa win. As you saw, that effort from Montiel go well over the bar, the 30-year-old for Jalapa. Now, one of those cases where you'll have Jalapa, they're content with a point. Esteli will really be pushing for all 3, as they've won 14 of the 22 between these 2 clubs all time. And again, a series history that only dates back a few years. It was Jalapa formed back in 2011 after Deportivo Jalapa folded in the late 2000s, and they were promoted to Liga Primera in 2013. So these 2 teams have only been playing now for 6 years. Jalapa was relegated back in 2016, spent a couple years in the 2nd division, back in the top flight, and this is now their 6th season. Oh, a scuff leads to a potential chance. Zuniga tries to square it for Coelho. A little bit too deep, but Coelho keeps it alive, and then it's just knocked out of play. A throw-in on the far side as Manuel Rosas, who's had a lot of running to do tonight, sends it out.
And we might get another look at that one. Just couldn't quite get it at the right angle for the shot and just ended up a little wide of the net.
Montiel looking to penetrate. But that pass picked off by Acuna. Montiel, who was teammates with Henry Garcia in their time at Unan Managua a few years ago when they had, you talk about what we've seen out of Jalapa, James, in the first 4 matches, but Unan Managua, they were really the last team to win a title out of the teams that were not expected to compete whatsoever. Long attempt here from Galeano. High and wide, and there might be some pushing and shoving behind the play, as we saw at the edge of the screen, Adano Velez running over the touchline. And in fact, it was the manager, Carlos Javier Martino, furious with a no call. And he gets a strict talking to. They thought there was a foul on Acuna hitting Galeano after he made contact.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell if Galeano was grabbing something there, grabbing his ankle, or just trying to maybe further sell that call a little bit to the official there. But the coach was furious on that one.
Well, impressive speed from Velez, our referee. I mean, he sprinted over there to get right up in the grill of Carlos Javier Martino, the first-year head coach for Jalapa. And we've already seen Oliver Flores get a card.
Knock some dirt on him.
I think things getting testy a little bit. 82nd minute, and a card, at least one coming. Luis Acuna will go into the book. I'd imagine
Acuna.
At least one other player. Well, as of now, it's just Acuna, and I think Jalapa arguing there should be a red card. as one of their players is down and in pain. And again, this was well off the ball. I'm not sure if the cameras picked this up, but clearly the Jalapa player's furious at Luis Acuna.
Here we go. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you can't do that, Ben.
That's a red in a lot of cases, and my guess is
I'm surprised they gave him a yellow.
They didn't see. Wow. Yeah, the temper's flaring. It is a warm, humid night. They bring Acuna together with Eddie Nicoya to have a conversation. Now, he must have said something to get under the skin of Acuna. But actually, Galliano, the captain, being brought over now. But yeah, anytime you see that wind up in the full two-hand shove, that is usually a sending off.
Wow, I'm stunned.
So Acuna lucky only to see yellow. We'll see how Aldano Velez.
Yep, and there's a yellow.
I'm just looking at the interaction with Henry Garcia. I think he has some sort of equipment issue. Might be. And he gets a yellow for protesting having to come off the pitch and pointing to his shin guard area. Well, that's one you don't see every day. So 2 minutes really of chaos. You saw a shove by Luis Acuna. Probably should have been sent off. Instead sees yellow. And now Henry Garcia is carded. And he has to leave the match to, I guess, get the proper shin guard, sock length. That's the only thing I can guess. But I also wonder, why was that not noticed earlier? Garcia's been in the match now for a solid 20 minutes.
Oh, my goodness. There's another card now for Galliano. Much to his dismay.
Well, 85th minute. What did you say earlier, James? You felt like Aldano Velez had done a great job of keeping things under control.
I think you might have jinxed it.
Again, you can't ever predict a hot-headed reaction like what we saw from Luis Acuna, and understandably so that the Jalapa players would be upset. We'll see now Acuna take this free kick. Probably fortunate to just be on the pitch right now. And as far as I can tell, I think Esteli are down to 10 for the moment. As far as I can see it, something where they will allow Garcia to figure out whatever the equipment issue is and then come back on. Because I did not see
play a man down until then, right?
They gave him a yellow. I did not see anybody come on for him. He was subbed on the pitch for Jorge Betancourt earlier in the half. So what a bizarre 5 minutes.
Oh man,
that has seen 3 different players go in the book.
And now you got to watch for a cheap shot on Barrera.
Hey, you look up at the clock, and all of a sudden, with all the extracurriculars, you only have 4 minutes plus stoppage time in what's been a tightly contested 1-1 match.
Acuna, excuse me for saying Barrera. Acuna.
Yeah, Acuna was the one with the two-handed shove for Esteli earlier. His first
He'll be looking over his shoulder for the last 4 minutes here.
First card of the season, and it's not the player you'd expect because Acuna was not carded once all of last year, and he's appeared in all 5 games this season, 4 as a sub. So he does not have a history of doing things like that. But again, Esteli does not have much of a history when it comes to losing against Jalapa, but here they've really been tested. They have drawn 5 times, so that's not totally unheard of. And Jalapa earned a huge upset in this venue last season, 2-0 in the Apertura, when they had to contend with the 8,000-plus fans inside the Estadio Independencia.
A player hit the deck there as number 26, Edgar Castillo, now checks in for Brandon Nayertis.
Actually,
excuse me, that is
Somariba. Yeah, we had it was 26 for Edgar Castillo last season, but Somariba, who is back with the club, it's his first year back, 3rd stint. with Esteli, the native of Esteli, who played for Juventus last season, has appeared in one match so far through the first 4, and now he comes in for the final few minutes, replacing Brandon Ayertis. So can Alexis Somariba, the final sub off the bench for Esteli, provide a spark? Jalapa still has a couple substitutes available if they elect to go that route. And a push forward now for Juan Barrera, sending it out wide. Looks for the return ball. Came instead towards Somariba, but headed first by Jalapa. As the visitors,
nice shot by Esteli, holding it in there for a minute.
Yeah, visitors trying to release some of that pressure, but they give it away. Poor touch next to the touch line. And a chance to throw into Marlon Lopez. 1-1 as we approach the 90th minute. Low ball, poorly dealt with by Nicoya. Chipped forward, there's Josue Quijano. Sends it back across goal, and that finds it. It's a game winner, you have to say, for the man in red and white. 89th minute goal. He just came onto the pitch a minute ago, but Alexis Somariba has put Esteli up 2-1.
What an outstanding job there for Somariba. We'll get another look at it here momentarily, removing his jersey in absolute jubilation. Right at the tail end of the game. Here it comes, right in the middle, off the head, off the forehead. Quijano with a great job out of the corner, and right place, right time for a 2-1 lead now for the Train of the North. What a clutch play there for Somariba.
It's his first goal back with Esteli, and the hometown kid, 26-year-old, in his third stint with the club. And it really started, James. You look at that misplay by Nicoya. It was a ball if he just takes an extra second, collects himself, could pretty easily boot it out, but instead tried to clear all in one motion and lost possession, allowed that play to start. Quijano keeping it alive, and they lose Somariba, really just in a scramble type play. But those fresh legs of the substitute open up space and still had to make a pretty good finish. I mean, we saw Barrera, the most clinical goal scorer Esteli has, miss a free header pretty badly earlier in the half, James. So that was awfully impressive from Alexis Somariba, who will keep Esteli surely in pole position in the Liga Primera table.
Yeah, great job there from Somariba, but I don't want to gloss over the outstanding corner job there off the foot of, that was Ayertis in the corner there, but Quijano, Josue Quijano out of the corner. That was an excellent job placing that ball right in front of the net for Somariba.
He'll gladly take the yellow for taking off his jersey. I'm sure Somariba feels like it was well worth it. As we're into stoppage time now, I haven't seen an indication of how many minutes we're looking at. I would think at least a few, though, when we had that big stir of pushing and shoving earlier and the 3 cards that came out as a result.
That was a solid three minutes there at least, I would say, Ben.
By the way, Henry Garcia, he is back. He fixed his equipment, but as quickly as he came back, he is now off because he has picked up a yellow. And he quickly removes the shin guards that I believe he was sent off to go find. And it's a red card for Garcia, who will take his time exiting the pitch in the 92nd minute. But that, you think about that sequence, though, James, the cheap shot shove from Luis Acuna, we both thought, like anybody watching would think that's probably a straight red. That completely has changed the dynamic, because if it's Esteli down to 10 men, you don't likely see them have an opportunity to control possession, and they don't likely end up with the game-winning goal.
They absolutely dodged a huge bullet there. That push there from Acuna, so that kept them in the game, and then they were able to find the net that right at the tail end.
And we will have to see just how much more time is added. Probably at least a minute with Garcia taking his time leaving the pitch, and he'll be suspended for next weekend's clash with Walter Ferretti. So that'll be a big loss. And another yellow coming, this one to Richard Rodriguez. So they show 4 minutes of added time. We've played 3. I would think maybe another minute tacking on to that.
There we go, 4 more.
But you see that goal from Somariba coming from down a goal in the first half. Barrera leveled in the 57th minute, then Somariba just before the 90th, and you just feel like that has to be a game winner given everything we've seen. But could we get one more turn of the script in what could potentially be the final kick of the match? At the very least, the final opportunity for Jalapa. And their captain, Luis Galeano, the Jalapa native, still looking for his 100th career Liga Primera goal.
11 yellow cards issued tonight, Ben. Unbelievable. 8 to Real Esteli and 3 to Jalapa.
Yeah, most coming in the final half hour of this match. So what can Galeano do? Down a goal. Final minute of stoppage time. The curler is just wide. That gave Rodrigo Romo a brief scare as he chased it, but looked like he had that top corner covered, and Galeano can't quite get enough bend to it.
Nice effort there for Galeano, but just not tight enough into that corner. And great position there for the goalkeeper.
Well, for Jalapa, who have been the surprise of the Apertura, it is a tough loss to take. They probably deserved a draw and a point in this match, but as we have seen so many times, when you have to play the full 90, breaks can go against you. They can go for you. And Esteli will take the win. They will go to a perfect 5-0-0, stay top of the table. As the eyes now shift towards O'Donnell Velez, our referee. We'll see if they give Jalapa one more chance to push forward. But still a lot of positives, James, you have to take away if you are Jalapa, despite what looks to be a heartbreaking loss tonight, as they held their own in this match.
They definitely held their own, Ben. They came out, they were the first ones to score in the game.
And that is it.
They played a great defensive game against Real Esteli, and they have nothing to hang their head about. They should be a little bit more confident even after this game.
What a match tonight. Jalapa looked determined and destined to pull the upset. 35th minute goal from Gabriel Coelho put the visitors on top, but Real Esteli scores twice in the second half. Juan Barrera in the 57th minute, and then Alexis Somariba, his first goal in his return back to El Tren del Norte just before the 90th minute. As you take a look at the final stats, Esteli outshooting Jalapa 13-9 with 6 shots on goal to Jalapa's 4, and a whole lot of fouls, 31 in all, and as James mentioned, 11 yellow cards. James, just a fantastic match. We'll get your final thoughts before we wrap up the broadcast tonight.
Well, it was definitely an entertaining one once again, Ben. Real Esteli ultimately coming out with the victory, but Jalapa, nothing to hang their head about. They played well. They came out on fire. They got the first goal of the evening, and they played a pretty outstanding game, I would say, against one of the top teams in Liga Primera. So they're going to just continue to build their confidence, and they're definitely someone to pay attention to in this league.
Again, our final score, it is Esteli 2, Jalapa 1, as the hosts go to 5-0-0 on the season. In our 5th match day, Jalapa falling to 2-1-2. For James Puvy, I am Ben Wilson, saying so long, thanking you for joining us in our presentation of Liga Primera soccer tonight. It's all over from Estadio Independencia, Esteli 2 and Jalapa 1.